let's go. Come on, man. Who else is this? Who else is this? I said, who else is this? What makes that grass grow? Blood. What we gonna do? Kill. What we gonna do? Kill. Who are we? Farmers. Who are we? Farmers. 1, 2, 3, Farmers.
Farmersville is a unique place. You know, we have a lot of people that live in Farmersville and commute to the Metroplex to work, and if you're not one of those, you work at the school district or you live out in the country and usually on a farm or something like that, raising cattle.
It's a small town like a lot in Texas. We have a pretty old-fashioned downtown area. I really like it here. It's fun to go in and, you know, hang out with my friends whenever I can and all that. My name's Eli Shinn. I play offensive lineman for the Farmersville Farmers.
As a coaching staff, we try to dig deep and get into our kids' lives so we know what they're going through, and we do what we call a night of champions, which allows kids to answer some questions that we prompt to help them, you know, get going, and it goes from light to heavy, and you start learning about your kids' lives and how they're brought up and their family. You'll be surprised in a family's environment, you know, how those kids will open up and share their personal lives with us, and that's real important for us. And I knew a little bit about it. You know, it's one of those touchy things you don't want to get into because you don't want to upset a kid, but when they open up, you know, there's a lot of tears from teammates and coaches, and you really get to learn more about them, and you just get engrossed in what they're involved in and what they do. But that's what I've learned the most about Eli.
Oh man, my dad he's the toughest man I ever knew. He grew up on the same farm, and back when he was born, we were still doing cotton farming at that point. So we had our cotton strippers and all that, but back then the cotton industry was still a pretty hard industry if you were the ones producing it, because they didn't have compactors or anything, so they would load the cotton into the trailers by themselves, and he would be the one packing it down and all that. So he was really tough from that. And I remember one of his coaches was one of my best friend's grandpas. So I get to talk to him about what my dad was like in high school. And he said my dad was a really impressive football player and really tough guy. And I remember him talking about standing on my dad's stomach, making him do crunches and all that, and just the stuff that they did back in the 70s with high school football.
We do the best that we can to, number one, build relationships with our kids so that they know that it's more than the game, it's life. And that's what we're trying to teach, is life skills, so that when they graduate from Farmersville, they can be successful in the world because they have a great foundation. And with Eli, he's extremely likable. I push him even though some things are rough on him and he has rough times, and I always want him to hold himself accountable, because sometimes it's easy for people just to throw in the towel and surrender and say, you know, I've had enough. But in life, you can't do that. You got to press on, and that's sort of what I'm trying to get across to Eli, is that you've been dealt a hand, son, that most people will never experience. It's what you do with that hand. You still got the cards. You still get to play them, so play them the best you can.
It was about 6 or 8 months before we found out he had cancer. And we knew that he'd been hurting, but he didn't know what it was. And, you know, being him, he ignored it for a while. So after we realized what it was, he went in for a surgery and got his lymph nodes taken out, and it was all gone for a while, about a year probably, and then we noticed it was reforming. So at this point, they went in, did a total laryngectomy, whereas you take a part of your throat out and you breathe through your throat. And he was still, you know, getting out, doing all his things with the farm, and I was helping more at this point because I was getting to where I knew more how to run the equipment. And he actually took me hunting in Colorado at this point still he wanted to let me experience some things before he was gone, and I think he kind of knew, you know, that it came back, and he really couldn't do much about it if it happened again. So he was going to get everything done that he could for me. He just kept doing his thing on the farm, and then it did end up reforming in his throat, and he was just so, you know, like just a completely different person physically. Like I knew him as a just a very strong, you know, muscular man. Now he's down to like 120 pounds, skinny as can be, and he's still doing everything he can, but he eventually just got to the point where he was bedridden and couldn't do anything. So that, and he ended up passing away on November 2nd of 2012.
I'm an emotional guy, so number one, I'm wiping tears away. I just cannot fathom to see him do what he does, and to have a positive attitude, and then he wakes up and comes to school and goes through the routine. It gives me inspiration, you know, to come to work and to continue to be an example for kids, because you just don't know.
It played a big toll on him, and he just kind of struggled through that whole situation. But it's made him the man he is today, for sure. He's grown as a person big time, you know, taking on more of a house, like the man of the house responsibility, especially having a farm and having to deal with that, and then school, and also wanting to play football in high school, because every guy wants to do that. You know, losing a parent would kill me, and I give him props for what he's been able to just go through. He's a one of a kind.
What I don't understand is I'm a 47-year-old man, and I'm still blessed to have my mother and father, and I just couldn't imagine the burden that he carries and the responsibility that he carries to continue his farm without his leadership, without the leadership of his father.
I think it was a Monday night. We got out of football practice. I think we were trying to get ready for a show or something. I ended up staying up till 3 a.m. working on my trailer, you know, welding and all that. It starts out 7 a.m. in the morning. I'm at film for football, getting ready for this next week's game, school all day, football practice, and then I'm working till around 3 a.m. on the trailer.
He's kind of like his dad. He liked to work. He liked to figure out things. And I left the other day when he built this hay rack that he built. I went down there at the shop to watch him, and many a time I'd see my son.
Well, this farm is a century farm. It's been our family since the 1870s, and that was my great-grandfather is the one that started it. We've been living on this same piece of land since then, and I'm the 5th generation to be doing that from then, and so it's a family tradition. Whenever I get up, if I don't come here to work out first, I'll probably go and service whatever piece of equipment I'm going to be using. So if I was going to cut hay, I'd go get our hay cutter hooked up, put all the hydraulics in, test it out, and then I'd go take it to the shop, grease all the joints, and change out any blades that are dull or just worn down too much. And then I'd go out to the field and spend the rest of the day out there getting done what I need to do. And that can go from, I spent one time last year, I had a really big field that I'd never done before, and I was helping a friend out, and I think I started at like midday, and I was working till midnight, and I still wasn't done with that.
I'm impressed with him every day.
Yeah.
You know, so proud of him every day. So I'm proud of, you know, he keeps his grades up and works hard in school, and so I'm very proud of him for that.
You know, my dad always told me, you know, you can go do whatever you want with your life. You don't have to stay here like I did. Or, you know, they've always encouraged me to go be whatever I want. But I think I like being part of this tradition and keeping it going, because there's not a lot of people doing this anymore.
The Eli's come to me multiple times saying, Coach Burnett, I gotta go, I gotta leave early, or I can't be here tomorrow because I have to go cut hay. We have to have it in by a certain time, or I gotta tend to animals. And, you know, we make concessions for the young man. In most programs, you know, you have kids that need the program more than the program need them, and you have programs that need the kids more than we need the kid more than the kid needs a program. And Eli's definitely one of those kids. He's he's a role model for the other kids to look up to and to see his hard work, you know, and the effort that he puts in just to be a part of them. What he doesn't understand yet is he will soon, is he's fixing to be a big part of what the Farmers do.
Football has just been, it helped take my mind off some of the things that were going on and let me just do what I do on the football field, and I really enjoyed all of that, you know, just time to spend time with friends and just work on improving my physical state and just being mentally sound.
We were both on freshman team, and we weren't the greatest team. You know, we're freshmen, we lost our great players to go up to varsity, but we were having sort of a pretty crappy season. We get to a game, we're playing Quinlan Bowles, and he's the center. At that time, he was playing center, and we were just having fun, and we started going. We just started making things happen, and he was getting pumped up. We were all getting pumped up, and that was the first time, you know, my freshman year was my first time back, and ever since seeing him back when we were younger, and that was the first time I'd seen him super happy after his father died. I hadn't seen him before, but he was extreme happiness. He was just, it was, everybody was. I mean, it was a great moment for everybody, but I could see it in him. It was almost like he was kind of doing it for himself, and it was kind of his release.
Eli doesn't, you know, it's not, that's his downtime. That's fun time for him. And what other kids are struggling with, and they don't want to do the running, they don't want to do this, or they got to be out there, instead of Eli gets to be out there, and that's the way he looks at it.
He's definitely a natural born leader for sure. He can get out there a little bit sometimes, you know, get in your face, but every team needs that, for sure. Every team needs that.
You know, his role on the sideline when he's not in there is an extremely positive person. You know, he's always uplifting, cheering others. You know, when something goes wrong, he's there to uplift them. When things are going well, he's there to greet them when they come off the field. And when it's his time to go, man, he's just all, you know, lips to ears and smiling big as all get out, and he's out there giving great effort. So it's a joy to be around him. You know, you can hear him when he's behind you, and you can hear him when he's out there on the field. But I mean, he's just a vital part of who we are and what we do, and really what we're about.
Oh, they're my second family, definitely. Like, we're all one family. We always try to encourage each other, give each other a hard time all the time. It's just a great relationship. You know, our chant before we run through our banner on Fridays is, what makes that grass grow? Blood, blood. What we gonna do? Kill, kill. Who are we? Farmers. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our chant we do every Friday before we run through our sign, and so yeah, we're all farmers in our own ways.
Fair to say that you'd like to have a roster full of Eli Shinn?
Oh, without a doubt.
Well, I love him very definitely, and he is enjoying this, and he's a jewel in my estimation.
If your dad was still here today and he could see everything that you've been able to accomplish since he's been gone, what do you think he'd say?
Oh, he'd say he was proud of him. So, very, very proud.
Well, I'd hope he'd say he's proud of me and to keep doing what I'm doing. I know that, you know, I'm doing a lot of things that he really enjoyed also, so we've got a lot of things in common with that, so yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, fellas. Thank you very much. Listen to me, fellas. This game is a game of attrition. You understand? You're going to get bumps and you're going to get bruises. It's a violent sport. You understand? Elijah, get well, son. We'll get you back until you get there, fellas. What you did tonight is you played with great passion. If you don't have passion, fellas, you can't play this game. And you played with great character. And that's what it's all about, character. What kind of person are you going to be when things are good? How are you going to handle the lows? Everybody grab someone, lift them up, pat them on the butt when they do well, lift them up when they're not doing so well. Fellas, good job of going out there and playing as a family. We're 1-0. That's where we need to be. You're going to enjoy it for the rest of the week. But come Monday, don't rest on what you did today. We're going to go back to work and we're going to get 2-0. I'm extremely proud of you fellas. I'm going to have a long weekend, but I'm going to take you with me. And I'm going to take this ball with me. And it's going to be okay. Because life is a battle. And we're going to keep pressing on. We're going to fight. And I can't tell you how much you mean to me, how much I love you for caring enough to think about me. I really do. You understand me? I appreciate you greatly. You got to do this for one time, and I'll leave you alone. We used to call her Mama Mojo, because when she came to the games, fellas, it seemed like we never lost. She just brought that mojo with her. And I know she's watching upstairs. She's got the best seat in the house. And I'm telling you, she'd be proud of me, and she dang sure be proud of you. You understand? Because it's all about character and service on that. So we're going to break it out with Mama Mojo. Mama Mojo on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Mama Mojo!
Yeah.